So today we have a 2016 Mercedes-Benz C180 with the AMG trim package attached. I'm going to take you all around the exterior, take you all around the interior, carry it for a drive, and give you my thoughts on it as we go along. Starting with the exterior design, I love how they gave it a long bonnet, and the seating compartment, the cabin area, is all the way back. When you look at it from the side, from a side profile, you can see it's almost reminiscent of an old-time vehicle. Long bonnet, seating compartment is all the way to the back. I love how that looks. It really has a old school but modern look to it. The headlights are also sexy. Here you can see you have the LED turn signals, the LED daytime running lights. You have your bi-xenon headlights and the LED headlights at the bottom there as well. It's a really tight and neat package. I really love how it looks. When you look at it from the front, it has an elegant yet aggressive look to it. Granted, the black isn't my favorite color, the silver is, but this one will do. At the side here, you have your indicator repeater, and at the rear, you have some nice tail lights. You have these swirl designs coming down. And when you step on the brake, the inner portion lights up. The tail lights look stunning here in the day, but they look equally stunning at night. They really stand out. Plus, it also reminds me of some of the Mercedes Maybach tail lights. It has an elegant look to it as well. When it comes to rims and tires, the vehicle has nice wide tires on it. But you cannot rotate them because the rears are actually staggered. So at the rear, you have 245 40/18s. And at the front, you have 225 40/18s. So it's next to impossible to rotate the tires. And these tires are expensive. So if you are buying it, just keep that in mind. These tires are expensive and you can't rotate them. But if you're like me, you never rotate tires anyway. You just drive with it, and whenever the pair wears down, you replace them as a pair and you move on from there. Now to open the trunk, you pull and hold this, and the trunk opens. Now when it comes to trunk space, I wouldn't say it's class leading. I think the Accord and the Camrys have larger trunk spaces than this. I mean, I don't have a measuring tape to confirm that, but by sight only, it doesn't seem that big. But I guess they sacrificed some trunk space for seating capacity inside the vehicle itself. Now, another way to open the trunk is by holding the trunk release button. So you just hold it down and the trunk opens up. Let's see if it closes as well. Oh, it does. Okay. Plus, if you don't want to fumble with this to close it, you have a button here. So you throw your stuff in the back here and you just and you're good to go. Now when it comes to engine and engine performance, it has a 1.6 liter turbocharged engine. Now I hear you saying 1.6 liters for a vehicle that big. Yes, I always say the exact same thing as well. But in this case, like I said, it's turbocharged. So you get 154 horsepower, which again isn't nothing to write home about, but you get 250 Newton meters of torque, and that's because of the turbo. And that 250 Newton meters of torque is actually available low down. It's available at from 1200 RPM. So you almost get a supercharger type feel when you step on the accelerator. The vehicle doesn't seem sluggish, it actually pulls. And what aids the driving experience is the fact that it doesn't have one of those crappy CVT transmissions you get in those Asian and Japanese vehicles nowadays. It has a proper transmission, a man transmission, 7 gears. It is a 7G Tronic Plus made by Mercedes-Benz at their Stuttgart Hedhofen factory. Now the good thing with that is you don't get the jitters you get from normal dual clutch transmissions at slow speeds. You know when the transmission doesn't know if it's shifting to first or second, so you get those slow speed jitters. None of that here. The vehicle shifts really smooth, but when you are pushing it, when you are in Sport Plus and you're pushing it, that is when the transmission actually comes alive and you can actually feel the car shake when the gear shifts. Like, yes, a gear has been engaged. Now when it comes to the exhaust note, it's not like a full-on AMG or a full-on Brabus type exhaust, but you can tell that something was done to it, something subtle was done to it. It's not like a normal 1.6 liter engine that just drones on and on and on. You can actually hear some depth to it. Plus, it's a dual exhaust, so that also helps. Now getting into the back of the Mercedes, there is a lot of room for, most people you would encounter. For example, the driving position, the driving seat is adjusted to my driving position, which is most times by the B pillar here. The passenger seat is slightly further back and I have room. Plus there are small indentations at the rear of the seat to allow your knees to, you know, not be uncomfortable if the seat were to come further back. Here you have a pocket. Nice pocket. Over here you have a pocket, and it's like it's a type of elastic, so it's a pocket but it fits flush with the rear here. So you have this, it's a kind of soft touch material. I mean, I don't really go too much on soft touch because I mean, you're not going to be driving in a vehicle just pressing everything in the vehicle, but if you are into that kind of thing, yes, it's nice and soft touch. Over your head you have lights, you know, on both sides you have lights that shine down, probably if you're reading or something. It actually has a small book there, so if you're reading you could, like, you know, have the book here and read on the way. I think those lights were invented before tablets and phones, but it's there if you're a reader in the back here, you know, a businessman or something being transported, you have your lights to be reading the quarterly financials and stuff like that. So if you're into that, you have the lights there, plus you have your normal Jesus handle. Not sure if they call it Jesus handle anymore, but that's what I know it as, Jesus handle. Getting into the front passenger side, you know, first thing you realize, as always with European vehicles, you have that nice thud. With the previous Mercedes CLA I did, I commented that because it didn't have a frame to the top here, because it's a frameless design, you know, you would hear the glass rattle a bit, which is a characteristic of all vehicles with, you know, frameless design. The glass tend to shake a bit when the door is closed, but because this has the frame on top, satisfying. You actually feel safe. Listen to this, listen to this. You hear that? There's a satisfying click when it reaches dead center. Even the button has a satisfying feel to it. And I mean, after all, this is a Mercedes, so you would expect that, but you have to actually feel it. You have to actually feel it to understand what I'm talking about. The buttons, high-end vehicles, luxury vehicles, you always notice this centerpiece here is always really wide. It's really wide, you know, and it's like, I love a wide center console, and I love the way this flows into this piece here. It's like one continuous piece. Now there is a slight, you know, there's a slight creak, but again, no one drives around a vehicle just pushing and poking stuff. I mean, you might do it for the first couple times, you know, but after that you're just driving in the vehicle. Another thing the Mercedes has that I haven't seen in a long while is a key to lock the glove compartment. I haven't seen that in a long while. This is the furthest it opens though. I don't know why it doesn't open wider, but this is one of those things where they put design over function, because it doesn't open all the way, and then you have to like kind of pry whatever you're trying to get out at an angle, you know. See the angle, because that's what happens when you put design over function. But when it's closed, it looks pretty well, pretty good. But when it's open, you realize that there isn't much space. It's probably deep. Let me see. It's not even that deep, but I guess it works. It works. So this is known as the business end of the vehicle because you control everything from here. So starting from right to left, on the right you have your lock unlock controls. See, lock unlock. You have your memory seats. You have 3 memory positions. You have your manual, plus you can take control just like I showed on the other side. Here you have your glass lockout, so once this is active, no one can control the glass. This is good for kids. You have your, and all are one touch. Nice one touch. Over here you have your lighting controls, typical European, well, Mercedes I should say, no, all European, yes, because the Range Rover and the BM I think is the same thing. So you have your auto, on, off, things like that. I love this gear selector. I really love this gear selector because it's so convenient. It's like you just push up for reverse, you pull down for drive, and you push this here for park. That's all you have to do. See? And on this side, we have something that I like as well. For example, you want to give the wiper one pass, you press this button, the wiper gets one pass. Down here you have your steering wheel height and telescopic controls. At the bottom here you have cruise control, and you have your speed limit, so you wouldn't go above a certain speed limit. So if you ever see a Mercedes driver speeding, yeah, it's a deliberate action. They mix the old with the new, so you have a nice analog clock in the center here. Then you have your media controls, radio, navigation, well hidden CD slots. You have your pockets. At the bottom here, we have this multi-interface type thing. Now, this seems to me as though Mercedes couldn't decide on how to control the screen, right? Because you have this touch interface here, which is also a, you could like use your finger and just like do that, right? And then you can push down on it like so to select stuff. But there's also a wheel at the bottom here that you can turn like so, and you can also push down to select stuff. There's the start button here, the back button here, and to the front here there's the back button and the start button. So it's kind of redundant. Either of these could have been moved and you wouldn't have known the difference. If you could move this whole piece here, you could still control it with this front part here. If this front part with the wheel wasn't here, you could still use this here. So I'm not sure why they would put that like that, but I guess they know best. I'll push down on radio. I'm gonna give it some volume. For some reason I'm not seeing a volume icon anywhere here. So I'm turning it up, down, and I'm not sure how high the volume is. I'm not sure why that is. Over on this side, you have your start-stop feature. So right now it's on. You can see that A icon up there. It's off now. See the green light disappears. I'll show you more on that later. You stop, the car cuts off, and it comes on when you start moving again. Here you have your Park Assist Plus, or whatever they call it now. So you press that, and that's when the vehicle will try to self-park itself if a suitable parking spot is found. Here you have your power button. This turns off the screen on top there. You're conversating with someone. Who uses that word anymore? You're having a discussion with someone. You're trying to get to second base, and the screen is just distracting. You press that button, and it comes off. It has illuminated Mercedes-Benz when you open the door here on the side skirting. Really cool. Now once you step inside the C180 and you start looking around and you start poking and prodding and touching stuff, everything has a certain level of premium to it. And I mean, that's to be expected in a vehicle that costed about $250,000 when it was brand new. I mean, today you could buy it for like $300,000, $260,000. But even at that price range, I think this vehicle is a steal of a deal. If you get this vehicle for a good price on the used market, scoop it up. Especially if you get one that is in pristine condition, such as this one. Everything has a dampered feel. You open the pocket and it opens in a dampered way. It doesn't fling open like a old car. The clock has a nice kind of diamond look to it when it glistens in the sunlight. The buttons have a nice feel to it. Even when you are opening the doors, the brushed metal design on the doors, when you hold it with your hand, you can feel that something is premium with this. If you blindfolded someone and you told them to open this door, they could tell right off the bat, this is not your friendly neighborhood Kia. It just has a certain level of premium that you have to actually feel. You have to sit in the vehicle and feel for yourself. Look at the lights at the top. Now, I did my best to get the camera to capture it as I was seeing it, but it has a kind of crystal chandelier look looking down at you. Look at it. You can tell, even the lights and all, gives you a certain level of feeling like, hey, I've made it. Hello? Hello? So let's see how it drives. I currently have it in Sport Plus. It's currently in park. I'm going to put it in drive again. Pull down. Just convenient like that. Now, this car does have the start-stop feature. There's an icon on the screen there. Plus, you have the button over on this side. You can activate it or turn it off. And it's my first time experiencing the stop-start feature. and I think it works really well. It's supposed to save gas. Now, it charges a small capacitor or battery or something to keep things running a bit while you are at a standstill. So if I were to put the glass down so you can hear it, I'm going to pull aside here and I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop now. See, the car is now off. Everything is off. But if I take my foot off the brake, like let's say at a traffic light and I take a foot off the brake, look how quickly it starts back. Look at this. And you're already moving. In drive, right? In drive. I don't know how it does it, right? It's actually in drive already once the vehicle starts. Look at it again. And you're already in drive. Now I think that there is turbo lag, but when you put it in Sport Plus, because the RPM stays so high, the turbo stays spooling constantly. So when you mash down, like, you see, so you're not really feeling the turbo lag. You know, but when the vehicle is in eco, see, there is turbo lag in eco, right? And I guess that is to be expected because eco is a safe fuel. But surprisingly, when the vehicle is in eco and you like just blip the throttle, you can hear a faint turbo sound. Now you sit really, really low down. You feel as though the vehicle is hugging you. The way it's like you're in a cocoon in a kind of way. I mean, I like it, but it's kind of intimidating being that low. But that's a sports car feel. You know, that's a sports car feel. I could drive, so I could average and stuff. But to the new driver, they would have to pump the seat all the way up to see over the, because it's a long bonnet. It's a really, really long bonnet. So, you know. Now, in terms of like Sport Plus, again, all it really does, for example, I'm going to be in comfort. Eco and comfort really, I can't tell the difference. The steering wheel feels the same. Everything feels the same. Sport and Sport Plus, again, the vehicle holds a higher RPM for longer. You can hear it. Listen. So it holds a higher RPM for longer, and that's really about it. You get a slightly faster acceleration. So you get slightly faster acceleration. Now it must be said that the transmission has a kind of Jekyll and Hyde type personality to it, because when it is in eco and comfort, the shifts are barely perceptible. It's just there in the background. But once you shift into Sport and Sport Plus, the shifts are more pronounced and more direct. You can actually feel it like boom, a gear has been engaged. And the exhaust note, because you are in a higher RPM, the exhaust note actually sounds more pronounced as well. Now, if you blindfolded a driver, you told him drive this vehicle, you don't know what he's driving, I don't know how you're going to blindfold somebody and have him driving, but that's not the point. The point is, he doesn't know what he's driving. He could tell for a fact that this is a rear-wheel drive vehicle. I don't know, it just seems like the back is telling you go forward versus the front telling you come forward, if you understand what I mean. It's like you feel like you're being pushed rather than pulled. And added to that, even though the vehicle doesn't have a lot of horsepower, it has low-end torque. So you never feel sluggish off the line. You always feel like, hey, you can go some more, you can go some more, you can go some more. So let's see, 0 to 60. We have kilometers and we have miles per hour. So 0 to 60 in 3, 2, 1, go. $60 kilometers, 60 miles. Test the brakes at this speed. Really good, really good, really good, really good. You mash the brakes and the vehicle stops composed. You know, you feel safe, you feel confident. As a matter of fact, you feel as though if you had to make an emergency maneuver while mashing the brakes, you could do so because the vehicle is planted to the ground. I'm going to demonstrate it. I'm going to mash a hard brakes while going in and out of lane to simulate if I had to make an evasive maneuver around something. I'm currently at 60 kilometers an hour. On the brakes. You see what I'm talking about? Control. The road is a bit damped. I was going about 65 kph and I was able to mash the brakes, right? Get away from the danger, whatever it may have been, and pull back into lane without, and this is a rear-wheel drive vehicle. Granted, it must be said that this is a vehicle that is on premium tires. 225 to the front, 245 to the rear, and it's not your hi-fi and Apollo tires. It also sits low and is wide. Plus, it doesn't have Daishin brakes. The brakes are Mercedes brakes, so you expect proper stopping power. So, it's unfair to compare this to the average vehicle on the road, but when you drive a vehicle like this, you understand why they cost so much. The whole point is to understand why they cost so much. It doesn't cost so much just because it's a Mercedes-Benz. It costs that much because of the engineering, the safety, the comfort, the ease of driving, and the fun factor. So put it in reverse, hit OK, and mash the gas slightly, and the car does the rest. It controls the brake. I can feel the brake braking. It's going to stop right there. Put the car in drive. Accelerate slightly. Put the car back in reverse. See? And it's going to come to a stop. See? And it takes off the parking assist. Just like that. All in all, if you're looking for a vehicle within the 230 to 260 price range, because that's the range you are seeing the now on the used market for, I think you should give this a test drive, give it a shot. You wouldn't regret it. Because on one hand, you get a vehicle that already took a depreciation hit, so you're not going to take that. And you'll get a vehicle that has all the bells and whistles. You're not going to be like, I'm missing this, I'm missing that. Everything is powered, right? As you can see, everything is powered. The steering wheel, the seats, the side mirrors, everything is just designed to give you ease of use. Right? You just have flick up or flick down or press of a button. You come from a long day's work, you don't want to be frightened. You put that gear lever, clang, 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 clang. You just push up or you pull down or you press that button. Now, people may say, parts hard to get, is a Mercedes, it's expensive, it's costly, don't buy it. But at the end of the day, so are women. And we all are still running them down. So clearly, something that is costly isn't a problem. So don't make having a fun car a problem.